We are back from our recess. Madam Clerk, if you could read under ordinances under final reading, item A.
An ordinance to amend Part 2, Chattanooga City Code, Chapter 3, relative to the Board of Sign Appeals.
Right? Move to approve. Second. Been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? Councilman Ledford.
No, I'm just going to make a motion to approve that and thank Mr. Anderson for his hard work on that.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Okay, any other comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Council, if there's no objection, we'll take items B, D, and E as a group. All right, Madam Clerk.
Item B, an ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to rezone properties located at 6701 and 6730 Indus Way from R2 residential zone to R3 residential zone, subject to certain conditions. Item D, an ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to rezone property located at 1920 Myrtle Street from RTZ residential townhouse or lot line zone to UGC urban general commercial zone. Item E, an ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance, Article 2, definitions, Article 6, height and area regulations, Section 38504, projections over yards, Article 17, accessory dwelling units, and Article 16, downtown form-based code.
All right, Council, you've heard the reading. Okay, had a motion. Second. Okay, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, item C.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City from C2 convenience commercial zone to UGC urban general commercial zone, subject to certain conditions.
All right, and at the request of Councilwoman Burrs, we would like the amenities read. Is that you, Phil?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
This ordinance is subject to the following conditions, which are on-site management, on-site security, long-term leases, background checks, clean and updated apartments with kitchen amenities, and a mixture of housing efficiency, 1 and 2 bedroom units, with 12% of those units being 2 bedroom units. And those are the conditions that were announced last week on first reading.
All right, thank you so much. You've heard the reading. Oh, Councilwoman Burrs?
Yeah, that's already in the record for the second reading. What I would like to put in the record, not as conditions, but they will be binding because they're in the record, and that is the developer's words of a lobby lounge, laundry facilities, a fitness center, high-speed Wi-Fi, and bike racks.
All right, thank you so much for reading those amenities into the record.
Yes, thank you.
All right, with
And I
that.
move approval, please.
All right. Okay, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, on the Public Works, item F.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 24, Article 14, Sections 24501 and 24502 relating to speed on through streets.
Okay, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. All right, ordinances on the first reading. Madam Clerk, planning item A.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to rezone properties located at 608, 614, and 4 unaddressed properties in the 600 block of Central Avenue from R3 residential zone to UGC urban general commercial zone, subject to certain conditions.
All right, is the applicant present? Is there any opposition present? Okay, Councilwoman Knoll.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'm going to ask that the council family will allow me to defer this until May the 7th. Gives everyone an opportunity to get back together and get some renderings of what that is actually going to look like and some issues that they were having resolved.
Okay, it's been motioned and properly second to defer until May the 7th. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, item B.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to rezone property located at 1400 North Chamberlain Avenue from R1 residential zone to R3 residential zone.
All right, is the applicant present? I see an applicant. Any opposition present? All right, that is in, District 9.
We want to add the following, Mike and I, come to an agreement, so we want to add the following conditions.
All right, can I get a motion to get it on the floor?
Move to approve.
Okay, it's been motioned and properly second.
No. To add conditions.
Okay,
So one, there will be a provision of on-site management and security to include fencing and cameras. The on-site management and on-site security contact information must be permanently displayed throughout the development. Background checks and long-term leases required for all residents. Units must have a range of rental prices reflecting a mixture of rental units, but a minimum of 15% of all units must be two-bedroom units. 200 feet from the rear property line shall remain as green space that is left undisturbed with no building structures, including residential dwellings, and no clearing or grading permitted with 200 feet undisturbed area except for pedestrian trails and removal of dead or diseased trees or invasive growth.
all right, is that a form of a motion for that amendment?
Yes.
Okay, all right, it's been motioned and properly second for the amendments. Any comments or questions about the amendment? All in favor? All opposed? Amendment carries. Like the motion, as amended?
Move to approve the motion as amended. Second.
Okay, it's been motioned and properly second to move as amended. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries as amended. All right, Public Works, the transportation, items C, D, and E as a group.
Item C, an ordinance amending Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 32, Article 3, Sections 3261 through 3285 relating to excavations and restoration of paving. Item D, an ordinance amending Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 32, Article 12, Street Construction. Item E, an ordinance amending Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 32, Section 3213, 3214, and 3215 relating to license to make excavations.
All right, you've heard the reading, Madam Vice Chair.
Based on our conversation in the earlier portion of our meeting, I move to defer these three items until March the 5th.
Okay, it's been motioned and properly second to defer these items to March the 5th. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. All right, under resolutions, Madam Clerk, item A.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Chattanooga approving the issuance of additional debt obligations of the Sports Authority of the County of Hamilton and the City of Chattanooga, Tennessee to finance a multi-use stadium.
Okay, all right, Councilman Ledford.
Move to withdraw. Second.
Okay, it's been motioned and properly second to withdraw. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries to withdraw. Madam Clerk, item B.
A resolution to increase the approved services for the Early Head Start program from 48 to 56 infant and toddler children, which allows for collaboration with Child Care Network 124 on Grays Road to provide services for the additional 8 infant and toddler children, increasing the original approved amount from $419,908.80 to $489,393.60.
All right, council, you've heard the reading. Okay, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. If there's no objection from council, we'll take items C and D under economic development as a group. Okay, Madam Clerk.
Item C, a resolution authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into a sub-license agreement with the Stadium Corporation and substantially the form attached for a term of 10 years at no cost to use and maintain a portion of the premises adjacent to SR 58, further identified as tax map number 145KB001 at 1931 Reggie White Boulevard for Finley Stadium volunteer and event staff parking, with the sub-license agreement to be subject to all of the terms, conditions, and obligations as set forth in the license agreement the city has with the state of Tennessee for the use of the parcel. Item D, a resolution authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into a third amendment to donation agreement with the Ames Center, Inc., and substantially the form attached to extend the closing date to June 30, 2024.
All right, council, you've heard the reading.
Move to approve.
Okay, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, item E.
A resolution authorizing the Department of Parks and Outdoors to apply for and, if awarded, accept the Rebuilding American Infrastructure with Sustainability and Equity RAISE grant from the Alton Park and Crabtree Connectors, depending upon inclusion in the capital budget and approval by City Council for an amount up to $19,695,708 with a local not to exceed 20% match of $3,939,141.60.
Okay, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Oh, Madam Clerk, item F, I'm sorry.
A resolution authorizing the City of Chattanooga and Hamilton County to jointly apply for and, if awarded, accept the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grant, EECBG, for program funding for the United States Department of Energy, and if awarded, the City of Chattanooga will enter into the subrecipient agreement with Green Spaces for the purpose of expanding the Built It Green workforce development and residential energy efficiency and building rehabilitation program for an amount not to exceed $315,140.
All right, Councilwoman Coonrod.
Thank you, Chair. Before I move to approve, I want to introduce the group of people, the young kids aged 18 to 24 will Build It Green. If you all will stand up, they depended, if we approve it or not, they'll be the ones that will be performing the work. So, thank y'all, appreciate it.
Hey, thank you.
But move to approve.
Okay, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? I just have a quick comment. My little cousin is in the group. I'm glad he's here. His name Dante. Wave your hand, because I will embarrass you. All right, any other comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. All right, now it's time for purchases. All right, Julie.
Good evening, Council. We have 5 purchases recommended for approval this evening. The first is from Finance. This is an increase of $75,000 for a new estimated spend of $195,000 to cover the cost of temporary employment for the payroll division. The contract increase is needed in order to provide personnel to process employee payroll. The employment agency used is Robert Half, utilizing HGAC-BY Cooperative Purchase Agreement TS06-21. The second purchase is from the Fleet Management Division of Public Works. This is a new blanket contract for record towing and recovery services. This will be a 4-year agreement not to exceed $190,000 per year. The award will go to Mostellers Record, Inc. as the best and only bid for the City of Chattanooga. 1 bid was received and was re-advertised. No other bids were received. The third is from the Early Learning Department and Head Start. This is a new blanket agreement for milk and dairy products. This will be a 4-year agreement not to exceed $170,000 per year, funded by a grant. The award will go to New Dairy Kentucky LLC, doing business as Borden Dairy LLC, as the best bid for the City of Chattanooga. The fourth purchase is from Human Resources. This is a new blanket agreement for dental services for eligible, active, and retired employees. Full premiums are paid by those who opt for coverage. This will be a 4-year agreement not to exceed $1,300,000 per year. The award will go to Cigna Health and Life Insurance Company as the best proposal for the City of Chattanooga. The fifth and final purchase is from the wastewater department. This is a new blanket agreement for CCTV repair services and parts. This will be a 4-year agreement not to exceed $60,000 per year. Bids were received from 1 vendor. The invitation was re-advertised and resulted in no additional bids. The award will go to Q's Inc.
All right, council.
Second.
Okay, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? Councilwoman Coonrod.
Thank you, Chair. I have been communicating with Ryan about the temp payroll clerk. Just want to state it on the record that, I'm hopeful that we will, make sure to hire somebody, if it's internally or externally, instead of paying $75,000 for a temp position, when we can hire somebody for that amount or less. And thank you for answering my questions, Ryan. Appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you, Councilwoman Coonrod. Any other comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Now we come time for committee reports. Councilman Henderson. Okay, Councilman Smith.
Madam Chair, earlier today we did have a legislative committee meeting in which we discussed changes to the ordinance.
All right.
Report, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you so much, Councilman Smith. Councilman Ledford.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Next Tuesday at 1 p.m., we will hold our second work session on our proposed zoning ordinances, so be prepared for that. Mr. Anderson, you have our questions from last time, and I believe we still have to finish up some of the slideshow presentation from work session number 1. But this should be another packed event. Looking forward to it. Next Tuesday at 1 o'clock in the Collins Conference Room.
All right, thank you so much, Councilman Ledford. Councilman Hester?
We did meet today, and I want to echo our sentiments earlier. Ben Taylor, job well done. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Councilman Hester. Councilwoman Coonrod? No report. Councilwoman Knoll? No report. Councilwoman Burrs?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We did have a Budget and Finance Committee today. Given the questions and the request for audit from council, I guess I need to ask Ryan, when would that be available for us to set our next meeting?
Sorry, could you say that one more time?
Well, council requested an audit of the clerk's office.
Yes.
And a breakdown of budget for both the judge's office and the clerk's office.
Yes.
I'm just asking, when can that be ready? So
We will have the budget requested information back to you before next Tuesday. The audit, let's talk a little bit more about what exactly is necessary there so that we can figure out, based on that, we'll figure out what timing is needed. And then from there, we can figure out when it makes sense to schedule another meeting. Does that make sense?
well, so you'll get the budget, the breakdown of the budget to all the council members right away?
That's right, before next Tuesday.
Okay. And then you want us to tell you
I'd like
what
to talk
we want
with you
the
a little
audit to
bit.
show? Or?
Yes, I'd like to talk with you a little bit more about
Okay.
exactly what we want to see from that audit.
Second when would you like to set that committee meeting?
The committee meeting, let's do the second Tuesday is hearing. So let's do the third Tuesday of March.
Okay. So we will meet the third Tuesday of March, and we will go over the audit, and you'll all have copies of the budget so that they can review it and
Sure.
have questions ready. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, that works. Thank you so much. Madam Vice Chair?
No report.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, now comes time for persons wishing to address the council. If you would like to address the council, please come to this podium here as our city attorney reads the rules.
Yes, ma'am. And at the end of each council business meeting, the chair will recognize members of the public that wish to address the council, and here's your rules. Each speaker wishing to address the council can only be recognized at the microphone up front for that purpose. You can't have more than 3 minutes to speak, and you can address the council only upon matters within their legislative and quasi-judicial authority and not on matters which are not under their authority or regulated by other governmental bodies or agencies. You can't use vulgar or obscene language nor use the floor to personally attack or personally denigrate others. Address your comments to the council as a whole and not make comments directed towards individual council members. And lastly, do not engage in disorderly conduct or disrupt in a public meeting, which is prohibited by Tennessee law. Someone commits that offense if a person substantially obstructs or interferes with the meeting by physical action or verbal utterance with the intent to prevent or disrupt a lawful meeting or gathering. Having stated that, please go right ahead, sir.
Okay, start my 3 minutes.
Yes, sir.
I want to start by saying this is my first city council meeting. Haven't been to one before. I'm really impressed with what you're doing. You people are mostly united in what you are trying to push forward. I'm the former chairman of the Chattanooga Beer and Record Board, and we always had mixed decisions and arguments over it. And I think we always came out with the right thing, but to see such unanimity between, is that the right word, between all of you is inspiring. Councilwoman Knoll, you are the very epitome of what I think a councilwoman should be. She comes to our meetings. We have monthly meetings at Fort Wood, and she comes to them and she participates in them, and she's listening to us, and that is really refreshing. At any rate, I'm here for a self-serving purpose.
If you can state your name.
I'm sorry, my name is Bill Glasscock.
Okay.
I'm a citizen and resident of the Fort Wood neighborhood. I own 2 houses in Fort Wood, and I own 2 apartment buildings in Fort Wood. The 2 apartments that I own are a block away from the subject property that we're talking about on Central Avenue. Since 1930, the residents of my apartment have had a nice, comfortable place to park close by where they live. If this development is built as envisioned, I fear that the pressure on the parking in my area will force my students to walk blocks away just to get to their house. It's something that's already happening. It's happened for years with the fraternities that are in Fort Wood, but they've been there. They're like Rock City on Lookout Mountain. They've been there a long time. We put up with problems with all of the fraternities because they're part of our community. But what is about to happen is going to make, I think, a fundamental change to our parking pressure and also to the number of cars on our street. My biggest worry is that being just a block away, I'm going to be priced. I'm going to be in trouble finding tenants if I don't have any parking. Fort Wood Place is right in front of my apartments, and it's open parking. There's no permit parking there. So automatically, that road is going to be filled up, and I'm in trouble. Since 1930, the citizens have had the right to park on the street in a reasonable distance from the apartments. And if this goes as expected, I greatly fear that that's going to be challenged. Increased pressure on parking and traffic.
All right, that's your 3 minutes.
I'm sorry.
Thank
That
you.
was fun.
Thank you so much. All right. All right, Mr. Bell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Monty Bell, the homeless journalist, the gray-haired fox, the man with the trillion-dollar voice. Now, last week, you all were privileged to hearing my classmate, Melvin J. Malone. I can't call him a friend, because for many years he has sided with many of you all to defame the character, to defame the image, to defame Monty Bell, the homeless journalist, the gray-haired fox, the man with the trillion-dollar voice. I changed the mascot of my school at Brainerd from Rebels to Panthers. I can't count one Panther from Brainerd because they're all rebels. Let's get to this real quick from the Tennessee Supreme Court. Your Tennessee Supreme Court, Mr. Attorney, it's your Supreme Court where you and your associates carried my case that was filed right up the street at 625 Georgia Avenue in the circuit courts of Hamilton County. My case ended up in Knoxville. You're interrupting, sir. I'm going to request those 2 minutes. I'm still not hearing you because I'm speaking. Okay, well, since you want to talk, tell me, sir, since I reported you, and these quasi-contract with all of these attorneys that you've gathered against me, there hasn't been another legal portion in your agenda. There's not one in there today. But over 10% of those attorneys that you claim you contracted with, I contacted. And not a one, just like Melvin J. Malone from Butler and Snow, admits that they had any kind of agreement with you. Now, that's not a matter of attorney-client privilege, I know, because I'm the pro se litigant that's defeated you from day one, since 1993. So I know it's not a matter of attorney privilege that, you don't have any means to try to cover up what I need to know about what you've done in my life. I'm not married to a man, sir. You've made the biggest mistake in your life, attaching yourself to my life, and then using the police department and all of this other stuff to assist you. It's against my religion for men to be with men and women to be with women. We have a freedom.
Yes, ma'am.
We have a freedom of religion, a freedom of speech, and a freedom of the press. Monty Bell is the greatest journalist that ever came out of the state of Tennessee. And you've deprived me of what, fame? But not fortune. $211 billion, $34 million is for your fraud on the entire 11th Judicial District Court. I'll see you next week.
All right, council, I don't see anyone else wishing to address the council. Oh, yeah. Yeah, get on up.
Hi there, my name is Amanda Shaw, and this is my first council meeting, but I have to say I was really impressed. You guys are the most amazing multitaskers I've ever seen, and so I think you can relate to me. I'm a mother of 5 to 16, and I'm also a Hamilton County school teacher. I teach at Brown Academy in 2nd grade, and also I'm a concerned citizen. So, thought I had life figured out till last June, and my daughter's 16, she's running across the crosswalk in front of CSAS and got hit by a car. And my worldview changed. I always have walked around this town, I love this town, but as a pedestrian, I no longer felt safe. And I wish after being here that I'd come to you first, because I went through the normal means. I went through 311. I have all of my correspondence in there for you to read, and nothing happened. That was 3 years ago. And then my daughter was hit, and the statistics say she should have died, okay? 50% chance. And I begged her to come, but she's still healing and is still trying to find her story and her voice. Anyway, so I'm asking for your help. And I've reached out. You have this in your email, but I wanted you to see my face. And I wanted you to know that, for example, on East 3rd Street alone, there are 3 Hamilton County schools that don't have safe crosswalks, okay? These are children that don't have a voice, and it's CSAS, Orchard Knob Middle, Orchard Knob Elementary, within a mile of you. And you see from my evidence that the crosswalks are in disrepair, the federal guidelines, none of it has been met. These children are being overlooked at best and neglected at worst. So what I'm asking is that you please become our advocates. Please. I hope this rocks your worldview, in that instead of just focusing on repaving streets that are high priorities, such as Mox Avenue or Dodds, where there's private institutions or huge public ones, please take into account of our children. I'm begging you. I want to see that these are immediate changes in terms of these schools and what's wrong there. I pointed out, I mapped it out, but also I've reached out to Superintendent Robertson, Hamilton County officials, school board, because I'd like to see going forward that is planned in, that we don't neglect them, the children, and make them risk their lives every day just to walk to school. Like my daughter and my other children, they walk every day. So please help.
All right.
Thank you.
Just a second. Ms. Shaw.
Ms. Shaw,
Okay,
you saying
Councilwoman
that.
Knoll, followed
Thank
by
you.
Madam Vice Chair.
Thank you. So nice to put a face with the name.
Yes, thank you.
You and I have corresponded for a while back, and I do want you to know that it has not gone unnoticed or discussed. And I do have a legal pad, as I told you in my correspondence, that I put down on there every concern or issue that is brought to my attention. And as it is addressed and satisfied or completed, then I mark through it. And as I looked at my list, that situation was still on there and had not been addressed. And I reached out and to a couple of individuals, 2 bins, and they told me that it was on the schedule to be addressed. I also had a meeting with Chief Freeman in reference to that. Chief, if you could come up for me. In reference to that. So I just want you to know that we are addressing that. And it is on the schedule to be addressed.
Thank you. I just, I needed to amplify it. I needed to come to you because I just felt like 311 is not meeting my needs. If they had reached out 3 years ago, my daughter wouldn't have been hit. You can see the pictures, the pink node, that's Anna. And she's beautiful. And she goes to school with some of you, your children. And she's supposed to be here. So please, what I hear at school is, oh, well, it wasn't my child. Or it, it's only one. But what if it was the next Martin Luther King Jr.? What if it was the next Michael Jordan? And you're saying, well, that one wasn't worth it? Oh, my goodness. Please.
But, yeah.
Mercy.
We do. We hear you, and we're going to address that.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, did you
Thank
need
you.
anything from Chief Freeman?
Chief Murphy, maybe not.
Just a second, Ms. Shaw.
Yeah.
Just a
Ms.
second.
Shaw.
We have Madam Vice Chair.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for the photos. We've been having a lot of conversations at council about multimodal safety and pedestrian safety in particular. And these photographs, I think, are just really helpful all over the city to see that so much of the paint is gone. Clarifying question, when your daughter, I'm getting a little confused with Hamilton County Schools and City of Chattanooga. Obviously, they're City of Chattanooga streets, but these are specifically adjacent to or connect to a Hamilton County school. Am I understanding?
That's correct.
Okay. And when your daughter was hit, was there a crossing guard there, or was it just she was using a crosswalk as a pedestrian?
She was using a crosswalk as a pedestrian.
Okay. And so there are, council, I think there are expectations that a pedestrian has when they choose to use a crosswalk, that traffic would stop, and as we've talked about, cars are not allowed to hit people as a general rule in Tennessee law. So this is something we are talking about a lot right now, and we're in the midst of budget season, and it's a very appropriate time for us to be given this full packet. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And if you notice, I did the speed limits, which were actually very hard to find on our streets. And I practiced, and I was going like 45, I'm sorry, on East 3rd, easy. And the stats say that if it's around that, you will kill a person 50% of the time. Okay, I mean, that's how serious this is. And I didn't know it, and I apologized to my own class that, I didn't know. So I'm doing it for everyone. Once I realized my eyes were open, that this is not just CSAS, this is a citywide thing, and that I can't ignore anymore.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Shaw. And also, you can see Kevin. Kevin, if you come down and talk to Ms. Shaw, that'd be great. And other than that, I don't see anyone else wishing to address the council. What's your pleasure?
Move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn, all right.